To most of us, Queen Victoria is the strict grandmother of Europe, the symbol of family values, a reserved figure of tradition, morality, and imperial power. But the next 7 quotes expose a woman far more shocking, cruelly honest, and deeply conflicted that they will permanently change how you see her.
We, women, are not made for governing, and if we are good women, we must dislike these masculine occupations.
What? A queen saying this? The ruler of the largest empire on earth claiming women should not rule? We imagine Queen Victoria as strong, confident, and in charge of an empire. So why would she say something that seems to erase herself? That sounds almost absurd. The truth is far more complicated. Even though Britain was a constitutional monarchy, Queen Victoria was not a powerless figurehead. Over her 63-year reign, she was deeply involved in government affairs, and not just charities or social issues. She read state papers, advised ministers, and used her influence constantly behind the scenes. For example, she strongly favored Benjamin Disraeli, who flattered and charmed her, in becoming prime minister over the serious and moralizing William Gladstone. She followed foreign policy closely, cared deeply about imperial expansion, and played a real role in shaping Britain's global power. And yet,
I am quite unfit for talking politics.
These quotes reveal a striking contradiction. A woman who ruled, influenced, and shaped an empire, yet still believed that women, as a group, were not fit to govern.
An ugly baby is a very nasty object, and the prettiest is frightful when undressed. That terrible frog-like action.
Wait, did a queen just insult babies? And her own baby? This is shocking to hear from a royal matriarch, the mother of 9 children and the grandmother of 42 royal descendants. She became the symbol of Victorian family values and even nicknamed the grandmother of Europe. Yet here she sounds disgusted by babies themselves. Did the great family queen really hate babies? When she wrote this, Victoria was actually just 21 years old and gave birth for the first time. And yes, Queen Victoria disliked pregnancy and childbirth intensely, and she found newborns strange, helpless, and animal-like. This brutally honest diary entry shows a young queen overwhelmed by motherhood, very far from the warm image history later created. In her later years, she admitted she did not enjoy children until they became more grown-up and interesting.
I don't dislike babies, though I think very young ones rather disgusting.
It is a raw, unfiltered voice we almost never hear from royalty.
The baby is sadly backward, but also growing and very strong.
This is even more unsettling. A mother calling her baby backward? And not just any baby, this was her infant son, the future King Edward VII, heir to the British throne. A disappointing backward baby king? That sounds like blatant maternal rejection. Queen Victoria worried constantly about development and intelligence. Writing privately, she compared her children and judged them harshly. In the same reflection, she contrasted her son with her older daughter Vicky, praising her as more advanced and already becoming quite a dear little companion. This is how she compared boys to girls, by the way.
Bertie and Leopold too frightful. Little girls are always prettier and nicer.
These quotes reveal how Victoria valued maturity, intellect, and usefulness, even in her own children, and how little patience she had for helpless infancy.
The question is whether the Chinese are not right in stopping the opium traffic.
Oh, did the British Queen just question Britain's own war? This sounds pretty much like sympathy for China. Was the young monarch doubting the morality of empire itself? This line was written just before the First Opium War. Britain wanted to force China to accept the opium trade, which was devastating Chinese society. Privately, the young queen wondered if China was right to stop drugs from flooding its people. She never said this in public, and she did not stop the war, but this sentence shows that for a brief moment, she questioned the morality of her empire. The war ended with China's defeat. Later, during the Second Opium War, British and French troops ransacked and burned the old summer palace in Beijing, looting priceless art and treasures. Spoils of war were sent back to Europe, and some were presented directly to Queen Victoria, including a small Pekingese dog she named Ludi. Despite this early moment of doubt, Queen Victoria fully supported the dominance of the British Empire.
The conduct of our dear noble troops is beyond praise. It is quite heroic, and really I feel a pride to have such troops.
She believed Britain had the right to rule other nations, by clever diplomacy or by force, if needed.
He was the best, truest heart that ever beat.
Who do you think she meant? Surely this must be Prince Albert, the husband she adored, who died young at just 42 and whom she mourned for the rest of her life, wearing black until her death. That would make perfect sense, right? But no, this was not about Albert. This quote was written about John Brown, her Scottish servant. After Albert's death, Brown became Queen Victoria's closest companion. He protected her, argued with her, and spoke to her with unusual bluntness. She trusted him deeply and elevated this common man to extraordinary intimacy, shocking the royal court. Many believed their relationship was inappropriate, though no proof ever emerged. This quote reveals how emotionally dependent Victoria became after her husband's death, and how willing she was to break royal boundaries for personal loyalty.
I think much more of our being like a cow or a dog at such moments, when our poor nature becomes so very animal and unecstatic.
This is bizarre! The monarch of the largest empire on earth, queen of palaces and crowns, describing childbirth in such degrading terms, comparing herself to animals. Where is the dignity? Where is the romance of motherhood? Queen Victoria wrote this after experiencing childbirth again and again, 9 times. She loathed the loss of control, the pain, and the physical reality of it. In this letter to her oldest daughter, Vicky, who just got married to German Emperor and King of Prussia and looked forward to motherhood, Queen Victoria stripped away all royal imagery and described a body as purely animal. This quote reveals her deep discomfort with physical suffering and her belief that childbirth robbed women of beauty, joy, and dignity. She explains this calmly in another quote.
When I think of a merry, happy and free young girl, and look at the ailing, aching state a young wife is generally doomed to, which you can't deny is the penalty of marriage.
These words show her discomfort with physicality and her belief that the body could overpower the mind. You can't argue this is a very human, very unroyal thought.
I am most anxious to enlist everyone in checking this mad, wicked folly of women's rights. Feminists ought to get a good whipping.
Here is the ultimate irony. The most powerful woman in the world, ruler of the largest empire on earth, furiously opposed women's rights. She even called for feminists to be physically punished, while she herself exercised enormous authority. This quote comes from a private letter where Queen Victoria attacked the early women's rights movement. What makes this even more paradoxical is that Queen Victoria openly believed women were slaves to men, forced into repeated childbirth, a condition she deeply despised. Hear this.
If those selfish men who are the causes of all one's misery only knew what their poor slaves go through. What suffering, what humiliation to the delicate feelings of a poor woman.
And yet, instead of wanting freedom for women, she rejected it. She believed women should endure this suffering but never seek power, independence, or political rights. To her, women demanding equality felt dangerous and unnatural. This quote shows a conservative woman shaped by her time, fiercely defending a system that caused her personal misery. Thanks so much for watching. Which of these quotes caught you off guard or made you see Queen Victoria differently? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this.